Hello, people. Welcome back to Activism Uncensored. Professor Kevin Anderson is a British climate scientist. He's Professor of Energy and Climate Change at the University of Manchester. He's also a former UN and government advisor on climate change. We caught up with him at a talk at the Springbank Arts Centre in New Mills. This is just a bit of a teaser clip from his talk there. We're going to be going into that in more detail on the next live stream here on Activism Uncensored. So keep an eye out for that. Without further ado, let's just dive into the clip. And in this segment, he's talking about our chances in terms of carbon budget for reaching or succeeding past 1.5 degrees C as an average global temperature rise. So this is Professor Kevin Anderson.
I would, in my view, I don't know how we can deliver this. I think I think we can deliver 2 degrees centigrade, but so we should be aiming for this still, because this means this is death for many people in the southern hemisphere and destruction of many ecosystems around the planet. So we should be trying to do everything we can for this. But just look what it means. It means by the very early 2030s, we should be zero emissions in the wealthy parts of the world. 2030. That's what, less than 10 years from now. That's what comes out of lying and delusion for the last 30 years. This isn't a shock. This is what comes out of what we've chosen not to do for 30 years. So, 2030. And it looks a bit, some people say that's a bit unfair, that blue line in the developed countries. But remember, 18% of the world's population live under the blue line, 82% live under the orange line. So this embeds ongoing unfairness for the poor parts of the world per person. So this is not a fair way of looking at it. Basically, if we want to have any chance of 1.5, and this is a slim chance anyway, we're talking about zero fossil fuel use by 2030 to 2035 for the wealthy countries, and the poor countries have some leeway of 5 to 15 years, depending on where you are. 5 years if you're China, and 15 years if you're Rwanda. So you have a bit of leeway on this. You can then sort of say from this, well, what does this mean for the UK? So we can give some guidance to the UK government, what this looks like, and you get a load of numbers out of this. So you get a carbon budget for the UK, how much can the UK emit, how many fossil fuels can it burn basically, and for 2 degrees centigrade, you've got about 8 years. For a 50% chance of 1, you've got 3 years. At current levels, 3 years of current emissions will blow our fair contribution to a 50-50 chance of 1.5. If you look at the reduction rates, that's over 20% per annum for 1.5, over 20% per annum, as an average. So, poor people living in Cheetham Hill won't have to reduce as much as people in Wilmslow, nothing like it. So that, and I'll come back to that, it's massively important. If you draw straight lines, the UK needs to be zero fossil fuel use by 2030, and a massive change in agriculture as well. So that's another important part of it. And 2039 at 2 degrees centigrade. So this is all a far cry from the net zero 2050 nonsense, which is now just taken over the language. No one can talk about climate change now, talking about net zero. Go back 5 years and virtually no one talks about net zero. Now everyone talks about it. Universities, the academics, the journalists, civil society. It's just nonsense.
So that's just a teaser clip from Professor Kevin Anderson speaking at the Springbank Arts Centre in New Mills. If you'd like to hear more from him, plus the rest of the panel, we had Zoe from Just Stop Oil there, as well as Phil, who was talking about local community action in New Mills. Please do join us on the next Activism Uncensored live stream. If you've not done so already, hit the subscribe and notification buttons so you don't miss out on that. Until next time, take care, people.